My name is Ken Sipkens, and I want to do a bunch of videos on vegetable gardening. First of all, today we're going to take a little bit of time explaining how to prepare your soils, when to do it, and then we're going to show you some of the tricks of the trade as far as growing vegetables, time of planting, and which varieties we can plant early in the season and which ones that we have to wait till later on when the weather is warmer. So soil preparation is very important first thing in the spring. If you get in your vegetable garden, and I have a sample of soil here, if you get a spade or a shovel and you dig your soil up and it's somewhat damp yet, if you can go like this with your hand and you can make a mud ball with it, you should not be in your garden. All right, because when you have wet soil like that and you work it, it's going to turn into real hard lumps, and it'll be like that all summer. So it's very difficult to grow a quality plant in soil that's hard and lumpy, and it usually takes an entire winter of frost heaving and breaking the soil back down before it's good again. All right, in comparison to that, if I took some soil out of a garden here that's been amended, if I try to break this or make it into a lump, it just falls apart, and it's nice crumbly soil. That's what you want to maintain in a garden if at all possible. Sarnie has two different kinds of soils. We have clay soils and we have sandy soils. Both of them require amendment in order to get quality vegetables. The sandy soils always dry out in the summertime. They're easier to work early in the spring because they drain very quickly. So in a sandy location, I would encourage people to work in organic matter. I find in my gardens, peat moss is about the cheapest price-wise for volume of soil amendment. It's very fine. I've got a little bit sitting in my garden right here. It's a light brown, very fibrous material, and it will hold probably about 30 times its weight in water. So when it does get moist, it holds the water for people in the summer whose gardens dry out very quickly. And on the other hand, if you have clay soils, when you put this into your soil and you mix it up with the clay, these particles all get in between the clay so that they can't stick back together. And that's what gives you aeration or air in your soil, which is very important, as well as still holding moisture. So I do that every year in my gardens. I have 4 by 12 raised beds, and I'll put one 3.8 cubic foot of peat moss in each bed. I spread that out on top, and then I'll work it in for the first 6 inches. And over the years, continually doing that, the soil always stays very friable, very easy to work. Don't have to get in here with a heavy-duty spade in order to prepare the garden in the spring. So we're working about 15th to 20th of April now. It's perfect time for planting your cool crops. And there are several things that should go in the garden early. A couple things that I'm going to show you is broccoli, cauliflower. These are two plants that can take cool weather. A light frost won't even hurt these, especially after they've been out in the garden for a couple days. And these plants have to be in early in order to get the heads to form before you get really hot weather in the summertime. So if you don't start off with a nice good sized plant by the 15th, 20th of April, by the time they head up, it's going to be really hot. Usually the heads will bolt or go to flower, and they don't have the quality or taste. So try to plant a big pot. I always get the 4-inch pots right away, even though you can buy smaller ones. These finish about 2-3 weeks earlier than the little transplants, and it makes all the difference. All right. Other things that you can plant at this time of year would be leek and onions. Again, they could take cool. They prefer cool grounds, and transplant them into the garden. I'm going to show you how to do that in a few minutes. Again, get them off to a really good start. The leek you can leave in all season if you like, and the flavor improves after frost in the fall. Another thing that I like to put in the garden really early are onions. Number of different ways you can do onions. I use Dutch sets or small onions that you can buy in a package already. Usually there's 100 bulbs in one of these small packages. Plenty for most people's gardens. And I will plant these in a row. We'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. And I'll be planting them very close together. I'll explain why as we do that. Other things that can go in the garden when it's cool yet are any kind of lettuce, whether it's head lettuce or leaf lettuce. This is a mesclun mix. Again, it'll come up in cool weather, does not need the heat. Snow peas. You want to get your snow peas in now. Earlier the season, after the soil is workable, put them in because they grow better in cool weather, right? This is a variety called snow peas. You actually take the pod off the plant before the peas size up inside, and you can stir fry them or use them as a vegetable. Very tender as long as you pick them early. Another one that comes up very early in the spring are radishes. Sow them thinly in the garden. I have a package here. There's probably about 250 seeds in this package. The best thing in a scenario like that is you plant about a third of the package, and maybe 3 weeks from now you plant another third, and then wait a few more weeks after that. That way you always have fresh stuff coming through the season, rather than just put them in once in the spring and that's it. Swiss chard or spinach, another leafy plant that grows in cooler weather. So get that into your soil and get it started now. Another thing I want to talk about is the size of your seeds. When you grow a variety, say like carrots, the seed is very, very fine. And if you bury your carrots an inch down in the ground, they'll probably not come up. All right, they need to be, say, a 1/4 inch down. I'll make a little trench with a little stick or something like that, and I'll carefully tap the carrots into the trench. And I only get a little bit of soil like this, and I just enough to cover the seeds. That's all the soil that I want on top. And then keep them moist. Don't let them dry out in between. And they should be up in about 10 days. All right. The bigger plants, or the plants that have larger seeds, require more depth. So a onion or a radish or a pea can probably go down in the ground an inch anyway, without any harm of it not being able to work its way through the top. All right. When we plant potatoes, we're going to show you how to do that as well. Potatoes are going to have to go down probably 5 or 6 inches, and that's going to take about 2-3 weeks for them to pop up out of the ground. So by planting them now, by the time they sprout up and start showing above soil, we're going to be past our frost-free date. We don't have to worry about them freezing off. The other plants that we've shown you already, they can take a light frost without any major damage.